Broadcasting from the ECHS studios, welcome to Charter School Radio with your host, Coach Dennis Snyder.
Good afternoon and welcome again to Charter School Radio. It's great to have you with us here this afternoon. Just a programming note, the next couple of weeks we will have some best of shows. There's plenty of shows you can go and listen to in our archives. You can download them. You can do a podcast. So please go to our website at WSRadio.com. Charter School Radio is the easiest way to get there, and you can look over the different topics, the different guests we've had on, a lot of different interesting ideas and things that we think will be beneficial to you. And again, we want to thank you for being with us over the course of these last 2 years, and we can hope to continue in the future bringing you great programming that talks about educational choice. And as I've borrowed the saying from the Foundation for Educational Choice, they've graciously allowed me to use their little saying about what educational choice is, and I appreciate that. And to us, it's the freedom to choose a school that matches your child's needs, not everybody else's. It's the freedom to choose a school that meets your standards, not the government's. And it's the freedom to choose a school based on its quality, not your address. That's what educational freedom is. That's what educational choice is all about. And in a nutshell, that's what this program's all about, to bring you interesting guests that are involved in the charter movement, think tanks. We've been around the country talking to the different charter school associations to give you feedback of what's happening in other states and trying to keep you informed of what's happening here in the state of California. And before I get to our first guest, which I'm excited about having, she's talking about somebody that's inspirational, somebody that is all about freedom of choice, somebody that's making a difference in our public school system. You're going to be very impressed, and I'll introduce her in just a second. But I have from a listener, and it's been a couple of weeks, and I keep not being able to get to it. The question that she wanted to know, or he wanted to know, was how does the city's cutbacks, the cities in the different states here, how does their cutbacks and their funding affect the charter schools? And in all honesty, it doesn't. The cities really don't fund the public schools. It's our property taxes. When we pass general obligation bonds to build schools, obviously it affects their taxes, their property taxes. But people that own property are assessed a certain amount, and that goes into the local counties to offset some of the cost of the education. And then the rest of the money is made up by we, the taxpayers. We send our money to Sacramento. Then they, in return, send it back to the local districts. So it's a combination of those two. So the city's budget really has no effect on our budget. So I wanted to answer that question and get that out of the way, and I apologize not for getting to that sooner. But I want to get to our guests and give as much time as possible because these half hours go by so fast. I appreciate her taking time out of her busy schedule, but we have Margaret Fortune. First of all, she was also named the Woman of Inspiration up there in Sacramento. She has been making an impact on education for quite a while up there in the Sacramento area. She is also leads the Fortune School of Education, a graduate school targeting mid-year professionals studying to become credentialed teachers. She's been advisor to two of our governors. I won't mention their names right now because she may not want their names mentioned. I'm just kidding. And Margaret, I'm going to just introduce you and we'll talk a little bit about that. Margaret, welcome to Charter School Radio.
Oh, thank you so much, Coach Snyder. It's great to be with you.
And it sounds like you're busy today. You're out on a construction site.
I am. We're doing the work of charter schools and opening new schools right here on the ground in Sacramento. So we are picking out paint colors and carpet for our school that we're going to be opening up on August 17th, 2011, Fortune School, a K-8 charter school here in Sacramento, California.
Fantastic. Well, I kind of know what you're going through. We have our construction going on. We're remodeling, and we've picked out our carpet. In fact, they were putting some of that in today and a few other things going on, so I can relate to what you're going through. But so our listening audience, those that may not know who you are, because this is on the internet and goes worldwide, and our main target audience is the United States and then in particular California. But why don't you just give us a little bit about your background? Reading through your biography and your background, very impressive. Obviously you're in it for the right reasons. You're in about helping students and helping kids, and you've walked that talk. So let's just give us a little bit of your background and the different things you've been involved in.
Thank you so much, Coach. Yes, I'm opening my third charter school now. last year I opened a school called Hardy Brown College Prep in San Bernardino, California, in our Inland Empire in California. Our focus is on closing the achievement gap for the lowest performing group of students. We focus on Sacramento County and San Bernardino County, and have a model that's based on a model school called Pt.1, which I helped to found as the founding superintendent of St. Hope Public Schools, which is another organization here in Sacramento that was founded by our mayor, Kevin Johnson. Some of you may know him from the Phoenix Suns, where he was a point guard for many years, but now he's on the forefront of city leadership in Sacramento and also education reform.
And if I remember correctly, that was quite a fight to get that school open, wasn't it?
It was. We made Sacramento High School, which is the oldest high school west of the Mississippi, into a charter school because it was among the first schools in California to be on our state list of schools that were facing sanctions like school closure because of low academic achievement. So rather than let that school continue down that path, the community galvanized, and I'm proud to have been in the leadership of that effort to make that school into a charter school. And now it's the third highest performing high school in the city of Sacramento, in our city schools, and 80% of the kids are going on to college, where only a fraction of that did under the old model. So it was a real dogfight up until the last, but we're glad that 8 years later, the kids are really doing well.
Yeah, so the battle was well worth it.
It definitely was well worth it, and it really laid the groundwork for the type of charter school work we see happening, for example, in Los Angeles, where they're taking schools that have been chronically low performing. The board is closing them and then issuing RFPs in order for charter operators to come forward with a better model to give parents choice. We really broke some new ground with that in Sacramento with Sacramento High. And so as leading up to that work, I've been an education advisor to two governors, being a part of the team that helped to create California's school accountability system, and chaired our state commission on teacher credentialing. So I've had my share of work in public policy, but I really think that the true reform happens in schools at the school level.
I agree.
Rather than at the legislative level, and in particular in the charter school movement.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the parents and the community should have a lot more autonomy as to what meets the needs of their students, and that competition out there, and that being held accountable, that kind of an entrepreneurial spirit, I think, is one of the things that's going to help us, and it's gaining ground throughout the United States, is going to help us maybe turn this big ship around and maybe actually focus on students rather than adults in our public schools. So, no, your leadership in that up in Sacramento especially has been, as I've been reading, like I said, looking at some of your background, has been pretty impressive. And obviously you got that passion from your dad, I take it, right?
Yes, I have to tell you that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My father is a retired school superintendent, and he was one of those superintendents who really never shied away from the charter school movement and considered charter schools to be one more tool in his tool chest in order to serve students with particular and unique needs. In his school district, a lot of parents were deciding to homeschool their children because they were pulling away from what was offered in the traditional public school system. And rather than just forget about that population of students, he created and supported a homeschool model charter school system called Heritage Peak, and he's kept up with it and serves on the board now, years and years after its founding. So I think that there are a lot of school superintendents out there who do not share that feeling of being threatened by charter schools, but rather look at it as a part of the research and development arm of public schools, part of the arm of public schools that offers parents with choices.
Isn't that nice that some of them actually think that way and think about what's best for the students first, that's refreshing to hear. So, well, I knew you got that passion somewhere, and I could, just talking to you at different events, and seen you a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not going to go into the details with our listening audience, but I was serving on a panel where we were giving out some grants, and just listening to your passion and your whole team that you had there with you and the things you want to accomplish is very impressive. And it's great to know that we have the people with that kind of passion and dedication that are out there trying to start charter schools. I mean, you went into San Bernardino County, and for those people that are from different parts of the country that might be listening, San Bernardino is very kind of a depressed area. Their school system hasn't been doing very well, and to go into that environment and start a charter school is pretty challenging.
Yeah, San Bernardino has some of the highest high school dropout rates in America. Some reports put San Bernardino first among large school districts in the United States in terms of its high school dropout rate, followed by Detroit, followed by New York. And so I, a couple of years ago, flew a group of parents up from San Bernardino to Sacramento to see a model school where a school that is 80% African American and 60% low income has some of the highest student achievement in the state. You know, our state academic performance index says that the highest you can perform is 1,000 points, and this school that